back to another episode of the Between the Lines podcast. Here we are today again talking about basketball. We're about 10 days or so into bubble basketball in the NBA. We're kind of starting to see some of the teams that are trending upwards, kind of teetering, or kind of going in the wrong direction. So now we kind of know what the seeds are looking like, and we're going to talk about some of the teams in the East and Western conferences that are trending in the right direction here. So I think maybe we'll just go, 1 through 5 in descending order. So we have the Bucks in the East. I had an interesting game or two there, and then kind of we're down by like 23 to the Heat. Came back and ended up beating them by like 18. But yeah, what do we have on the Bucks?
All right. First of all, I need everybody to know. I was gonna bring it up. Of course, the Nets will win against the Bucks, right? But no, the Bucks are a challenging team because everybody feels like they have their card on them. They know what their game plan is, and it's kind of obvious what their game plan is. To give the ball to Giannis, and he's gonna do whatever moves he does, but it's just like impossible to stop him. Like even though you know what's coming, it's just a baller, a freak in nature. So it's really tough. Like the team is just a solid team to play against too.
Yeah, honestly, I don't have much to say on the Bucks right there. I think Kyle just hit the nail, man. It's all about Giannis. They have a solid team overall, but it's a team that wouldn't work at all without that centerpiece. So yeah, I mean, if Giannis keeps doing what he's doing, I have to admit they're probably the favorites to go to the finals on that conference. But yeah, there's just not much to say about it. It was a great comeback against the Heat. It kind of hurt, but hey, I don't think we can say the Heat choked.
Oh no, I mean, I wouldn't say that.
Honestly,
they were missing Dragic and Butler too.
Yeah, honestly, like I saw that game and I'm like, some games you can tell that your team clearly choked and you're like, all right, we just messed up on defense and all that. But I just gotta give praise to Giannis and the Bucks. They stayed cold out there, kept playing their game. And if they keep going like this, I can only see them going to the finals. Maybe win the ring. Who knows? They're playing really well, so.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. I think that in regards to that Heat game that they played, I mean, the Heat were missing some players, and Hero and Robinson were balling out there at the beginning. But it was just crazy to see how quickly the Bucks could just turn the switch on when they wanted to. And in that fourth quarter, they just went crazy. But about the Bucks in general heading towards the playoffs, I agree with you guys like 100%. Teamwork wise, they work so well as a unit. And Thiago, what you said is true. Without Giannis, this team's not competing for the finals. But man, that piece to just add in there around all the complementary parts, it just gives them a great roster. But my question is, go ahead.
Great point you touched though. You talked about now that you're talking about the Eastern Conference, you talked about Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson. Bro, like, as a Heat fan, we got a lot to look forward to if we keep those two. They're straight-up shooters. I know that Duncan is just, like... Obviously, Duncan is more focused on the three-point ball overall. But, like, Tyler Hero as a player in general, like, he's built the way he drives the ball, he shoots. That's some scary-looking stuff, man, right there for our future.
For sure.
I like that.
Yeah, just watching Hero play the other day, dude, he's crazy. Just his pull up from anywhere, he can shoot off the dribble, like he's getting the best. So yeah, he's crazy nice. He's only gonna get better too. But the last thought about he's a killer, man.
Yeah.
The last thought about the Bucks is though, at the end of the game, who gets the ball? Do you trust Giannis's moves? Like, it's like, what, Giannis is just going to back this guy down, get a bucket? Because, like, I know I kind of laughed at you a while ago, Kyle, when you tried to put Middleton on that top 20 list. But
I was just about to get back to that.
Dude, I honestly think that possibly just the ball in Middleton's hands there in the last, because I don't know, unless Giannis is just going to back somebody down and dunk on him. Like, Middleton's pretty nice there.
It's tough. I think you got to figure out what kind of bucket you need there, and I think you work with a player that's going to give you that certain bucket. But
of course,
having the ball in Chris Middleton's hand is not a bad idea. He is a bucket, and I think people fail to realize
it is not a bad idea, but only if you need that 3-pointer, man. Because otherwise, any other
he can do so much more. I mean, he can.
I know, but if you just need 2 points to win the game, the ball is gonna go to Giannis, man. because he can do so much more. Like he can just post someone up and get that dunk, or just like force somebody into the post. I don't know, man. He can do so much more. But if you need a 3-pointer, I agree with you. Maybe you go through Chris Middleton.
I'll say this: if I was a Bucks fan and either of them had the ball in their hand late game, I wouldn't be mad. Anybody else, I'd be mad. So those two, I'd be cool. Doesn't
Maybe
matter
Bledsoe
who gets
too.
it, make something happen. Hell no.
Yeah.
Bledsoe is nice with the ball. I'm not gonna lie. I don't hate
taking the last shot though, but
not taking the last
Alright, well-
shot, but yeah.
speaking of guys like Eric Bledsoe, I think the last thing we need to talk about is X factors. So if the Bucks are to make a deep run, get to the finals possibly and win them, who is going to be that one or possibly two players that really kind of gives the last touches the Bucks need?
You just said it, bro. It's Giannis and Chris Middleton, in my opinion. Maybe Brook.
Okay, but X
Lopez.
factors, though, X factors, guys that aren't expected to be the stars that are really gonna help them get to where they want to go.
I think they got to keep playing their game, but just any other bench player, they need to step up. Eric Bledsoe definitely needs to put in those buckets. And what I think needs to happen is Chris Middleton just maybe like an extra 5 points. I know he's already bowling out, but if he gives, those performances, it'll happen.
You know who I'm thinking? Dante DiVincenzo, bro. I like him as a player, and I think his game is just he still has some ceiling to go, because like he's not gonna be like a superstar, but I feel like he can be better for the team. Like dude is a shooter, like he can shoot the ball, and he can also carry that ball nicely. So I don't know, man. Like you said, maybe you can add those 5 extra points on Middleton, or maybe you can just add a couple extra points from Dante DiVincenzo coming off the bench. I don't know, man. I think he can be useful for the team.
I think for the Bucks, 2 players that are going to be really key if they make a deep run, Eric Bledsoe, and I think Brook Lopez too. If Lopez can continue to, hit those 3-pointers, rebound pretty well down low, I think that'll be like another 2 guys that really push them forward as well.
Definitely.
And to the Raptors, up north to Toronto, but now we're in the bubble, so we're all in Orlando. But I don't know. My thoughts about the Raptors are, it was kind of surprising to see how much the Celtics wiped them on the floor the other day. But up until that game in the bubble, the Raptors had played really well. Took down the Lakers, took down some other teams. I think they were undefeated before that. But I think what you're going to get with the Raptors, and Kyle and, Gasol, and then, Anunoby's playing pretty well, and Van Vliet. So, yeah, I like the Raptors a lot. I think they're definitely looking up in terms of playoffs this year.
Yeah, I really like them too. They're, aside from the Bucks, I think that's one of the best teams that have the best team chemistry. They just play really good. They know what kind of basketball they need. And I don't know if LeBron said it or what, but I understand Kawhi was on the team, and we all know that Kawhi took them. But the fact that they're still back at the top, which Toronto's always been a decent team, it just shows that squad was actually pretty good. And nobody's gonna come out there expecting to wipe out the Raptors. Like when they come out and play the Raptors, they're gonna have to game plan. They're gonna have to play hard. So,
man, I said it once and I'll say it again. The Raptors are inconsistent, especially because Kyle Lowry is inconsistent. It's gonna be the same old story, man. They look good. Yes, they do look good. They look like they can make a run sometimes. Yes, they do. They're gonna choke on the playoffs. That's what Kyle Lowry does.
This is the bubble, though. You gotta remember that. I understand it's the playoffs, but it's just in the bubble.
Look at the way they play the Celtics. That's what happens with the Raptors.
It's one game.
Yeah, it's one game.
It's always just one game. That's the problem. They've been looking good. Nah, man. I keep saying, man.
I understand where you're speaking in a historical sense, but at the same time, whether Kawhi's there or not, that team did just win the finals last year.
Yes, that's true. But what I'm saying is, without Kawhi and with Kyle Lowry and Pascal Siakam being their stars, they're not going nowhere, man. They might make a run. I don't know, man. Maybe they win the first seed, the first playoff game or whatever, the first round. But they're not going far, man. I just don't trust Lowry like that. It's that, like, listen, a team that you think that can make a championship run doesn't have games like that. And you might just say, again, it's one game. It's not one game. That game means what they've been doing for these last couple of years instead of just like taking out last year, of course, because they made a championship run. But if you think about the last couple of years before that, when DeRozan was there playing with Lowry, everybody said that they had like one of the best records in the regular season. They were balling out. They were hard to defeat, especially at home. It comes to the playoffs, it comes to the big time, Lowry chokes. It happens all the time. And it happened last year too. If it wasn't for Kawhi, I know that Lowry has some pretty bad games, especially in the first few rounds of the playoffs. So nah, man. Siakam is not Kawhi, and Siakam is not going to carry Lowry's ass like Kawhi did. I'm not. I don't have any faith at all on the Raptors. I've been doing it. It's a deja vu again, man.
Ugh.
I think it's fair. I mean, I put it this way. I don't think everything that you just said there is fair, but I think your reservations about, Kawhi no longer being on the team and kind of wondering how things are going to be different in the playoffs. I mean, Siakam's played well, Lowry's played well, Van Fleet's played well, but at the same time, Kawhi's gone. So I think thinking about it like that is fair, but my only question about the Raptors is, are they going to be able to score enough to keep winning and advancing rounds?
Yeah.
I know they have some players, as we talked about, but there's no one guy there every single night that you can count on getting you 25 or something like that. So that's my only concern. And for different reasons, I will say that I don't foresee the Raptors getting past the Eastern Conference Finals this year, if they even do make it that far.
They're not going to make it that far, but okay.
So I think you'd agree that.
Yeah. Oh, listen. Yeah. I'm not hating though. Just one last thing about the Raptors. I like the team. No. I'm serious. No, listen. I like the Raptors franchise itself, and I'm not a hater of Kyle Lowry. I'm just saying it's what I've been coming to learn with the Raptors. I'm not. If they prove me wrong. Fair. If they prove me wrong, I'd be happy. I was happy last year when they were NBA champions. I thought they deserved it, but I want them to prove me wrong. But if I gotta be real, I gotta stick with my opinion. I really want them to prove me wrong. If they do that, I'll be happy. But I just don't think it's gonna happen. I'm just being realistic here.
Hope they prove you wrong.
That's fair. We shall see.
We'll see.
Yeah, lastly with the Raptors, I just put down for X Factor guys that I think this team's really going to make a far run. I think OG Anunoby is going to be like one of those guys that really get the job done on offense and defense for them.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be we going with what Thiago said. If Kyle Lowry does go through his famous or infamous playoff little whatever it is, the X Factors are definitely going to be Fred and Pascal.
Yeah, man, I agree with you.
Their buckets every night. I'm thinking mainly Fred, but
yeah.
Norman Powell is not Norman Powell. I forgot the dude's name. God damn it, he comes off the bench too.
His last name Davis?
No, no, he's not Davis.
What position does he play?
I don't even know, man. He's small forward, I think. He's a shooter. I keep forgetting his name, bro. Like, I feel like half of the Raptors bench was made on 2K last year, so they just it's just some randomized players. They're not bad though. But yeah, I agree with Kyle though. I mean, you can name any X factor on the team. If Kyle Lowry doesn't bow out, and if he's just being Kyle Lowry again, they're not going anywhere. You don't have to care about X factors, bro.
Right.
That's not much to think about it.
I believe.
All right, so on to the Celtics, the Boston Celtics.
Interesting one now.
What to say about the Celtics? They have a lot of different wing scorers. Jason, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart, Gordon Hayward. So, yeah, I think that one of their biggest problems is rebounding and defense in the interior post. They have Tice and Cantor at the center position. Those guys kind of get pushed around quite a bit, which causes some problems. But I think if the Celtics are going to go far in the playoffs, I think Gordon Hayward's one player that's really going to have to play well. And he, at some points this year, had played, decent, but he's got to stop being so inconsistent.
I feel that. I think the Celtics are a decent team, but their X factors, plural, are going to be the whole team playing defense. That's what it is. You can't go out and try to have a shootout every game and try to get to the finals or try to get anywhere like that. It's going to be tough. It's going to wear you out. You got to get stopped.
The Celtics have the same X factor for years now, and I'll keep saying it. It's Marcus Smart. He's the X factor of the team, man. He's the heart and soul of that team. And if they want to make a deep run, Marcus Smart has to be that dog on defense, man. That's the way they win the games. He hustles, man. He goes for every ball. He makes every play count, and he's the guy that I respect the most on that team. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I really like the Celtics team. I'm a big Jason Tatum fan. I like Jalen Brown and Gordon Hayward, man. I respect. I have a lot of respect for him for coming back from that injury and still balling out. But Marcus Smart, man,
Yeah,
dude,
for sure.
that's hustle. That's hustle. That's 100% hustle player. It's what makes him get the money because he's not like a bucket or whatever. It's just a hustler player, and I think he's gonna be very important if they want to make a deep run.
Yeah, I think with Marcus Smart, because defensively every night, like he's gonna come in and give everything he's got, and probably lock down the star point guard or the two guard for whatever opposing team. But I think for him is when he's also able to come in and give you points too, that just sways things so much because you already know what you're getting defensively, and when he's able to score, it's just like double added bonus right there for the Celtics.
Marcus Smart's kind of reminds me of a better version of Andre Robertson, from the OKC
Thunder.
Thunder. Yeah, because like Robertson never a good shooter, and he never really scored buckets, but he was always like he always had a new contract for the team because he played that defense. And Marcus Smart is obviously way better player than Robertson. I'm not saying they are on the same level, but it kind of reminds me of the role they have on the team. Because Robertson is still on the Thunder, although he haven't played for almost 2 years. And he still has that contract because people trust on his defense and his hustle. So I feel like if Marcus Smart actually gets a jumper that's consistent, that's some scary looking dude.
Another defensive player I think of too, just a random throwback, Cephalosha.
Tebo Cephalosha, yeah.
So, yeah, I guess Marcus Smart is also a better version of him too.
For sure. I mean, both of those guys you say played great defense. I think we can all agree, though, Marcus Smart has a better offensive game than both of them by a lot. But that being said, let's go to the Miami Heat. So, Tiago, you start here and tell us about your Miami Heat.
Just explain it all.
Give us the secrets.
I already said that what makes me happy about what's going on in the bubble is the fact that Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson are balling out. Man, it's a pleasure to watch those two play, and I really hope we can keep Duncan because I know we for sure going with Tyler Hero for the future, but Duncan kind of looks like that player that looks like disposable at some point, and I don't think he is, but from the team point of view, he might be. I don't know. I hope he's not. Anyways, overall it's good. I feel like if we have everyone on the field, if we have Dragic playing and Butler playing, we might be a surprise coming out the East. But yeah, man. I mean, we're on a weird position right now. I cannot say the Heat are really good and we are for sure going to the finals because we're not. But I cannot say that we are weak too. So we're in that limbo that at some point we might just explode and make a deep run, and Butler and Dragic and all the guys that have been mentioned been balling out, and Hero just developing really fast because that's what he's doing right now. Or we might just live up to the expectations we have right now and just be eliminated on the second round, and which would be great. Don't get me wrong; it's just playoff experience for those young guys. Jimmy Butler will stick around. Dragic might play a couple more years, so. I don't know, man. Either ways, I'd be happy. I'm happy with the way the team is moving forward when it comes to development. And X factors, once again, Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson, for sure. There's just maybe Kendrick Nunn too, because I got a lot of respect for his game, but I don't think he has as much his impact as Tyler or Duncan are having on the bubble.
Like it. I think you hit everything. You said everything that needs to be said with them. I really do like seeing Tyler Hero balling out though. So I was definitely watching him at college play. So just seeing him hoop on the NBA stage is pretty tough. So that's my comments on that
one. My immediate thoughts, and now having watched the Heat probably play about 2 or 3 games in the bubble, is they have heart. They will never come to a game and lay a dud. They all just play too hard, and I think they work well as a team together. But one player that I have thoughts on, and I'm just amazed watching him cut and move without the ball, is Duncan Robinson. You just watch how he maneuvers himself, whether it's coming off screens or coming off ball screens around the 3-point line. He's just always in position, and it's crazy. He's got one of the nicest shots in the league right now. It's just pure watching that dude shoot the ball.
Yeah, if you think about like what makes the Heat, the players that make the Heat team right now, think about it. So you got Duncan Robinson that nobody wanted, like nobody ever thought dude was even going to be as good as he is right now. You got Kendrick Nunn that wasn't drafted. You got Jimmy Butler that was a second round pick when he came to the league, and a lot of people doubted him and never thought he was going to be the great player he is nowadays. You got Goran Dragic that almost like ruined his career at some point, like he was just lost in the league when he was bouncing from the Suns to the Rockets. I feel like you got like all of these players that got something to prove, you know, when it comes to winning a ring, because all of them were underdogs at some point. Like even Andre Iguodala at some point, you know, like he was just like his run with the Sixers was nice, but that's it. And then he went to the Warriors and did what he did. But the whole team culture, I feel like it's a lot of underdogs that are hungry, you know, and they happy to play together. That's the way I feel, and I love that. I simply love that. Even Bam Adebayo, people doubting him being a good center because he's short. It's like I say, it's a team of underdogs, and it's pleasure to watch those guys go to work every game, because you know the hustle is going to be there. They want to play basketball. They don't have egos. There are no egos in the mixture, which is something weird to say when Jimmy Butler is on the conversation, but I don't see his ego there. I mean, I just love it, man. I hope we can make a deep run anytime soon, because these guys deserve that shit, man. They're a bunch of underdogs, and they playing like top level right now.
Yeah, no, they're great, man. They're such a fun team to watch for sure. Now, I would say we could cover more in the East. Well, let's just jump to the West now. Unless somebody wants to say something about the pace.
I do.
You got someone?
I was about to say real quick. I think we just do honorable mentions for the rest of the Eastern team, because I know everybody wants to hear their thoughts. So I mean, go ahead, Tiago. I know you're ready to speak about them. Go ahead.
Oh my God, T.J. Warren, baby, what?
Yeah.
How can we not talk about this guy, man? He's
the bubble.
I had this conversation this morning with Kyle. The same thing. Like, we just come up and be like, dude, what is T.J. Warren doing? Who is this guy? Where has he been? Dude is scoring 40 points a night. What is this?
Hey man, I think he was out there working.
Listen, I don't know.
Opportunity came out, he was balling.
I don't know what's up with the water in Indiana, but I see Oladipo going to that team and becoming a superstar, and now T.J. Warren is becoming a superstar. And I don't know. What they give them, what they feed them, man. What's in the water in Indiana?
Well, here's what's funny about this team too, is that they were never really a bad team. If you look at before the bubble, they're still top 6.
Yeah, just
so
nobody
they have
talked
always
about them.
been a team in there. Yeah, I mean, who wants to come out and be like, oh, the Indiana Pacers? Like, you know,
Exactly.
they haven't been like a popping team for a while. But the matter of fact is, they have a solid basketball team. They have solid players on that team, and they have bucket getters on that team. So that's just what it is, and it's just pretty much showing it.
I feel like the Pacers are the perfect team for a superstar to develop. So, like, picture this. When Paul George was drafted there, nobody really expected Paul George to be Paul George. It's just like he developed without pressure because he played in Indiana. People sometimes forgot the Pacers existed. Same thing with Oladipo. Oladipo goes there, finally plays with no pressure because he was like a top round pick or whatever by the Magic. He goes there, plays no pressure, becomes a superstar. T.J. Warren, man, they've been balling the whole year. Nobody even remembers the Pacers exist, and the dude is hitting 40 pieces a night. Like, I don't know, man. I just feel like Indiana is a perfect place for you to develop as a superstar right now. And hey, I see them doing crazy stuff in these playoffs, man. They've been balling out. I'm just saying, man, they look scary. And I think that's an honorable mention we should all talk about. Like, not just T.J. Warren, because that's obviously like a huge surprise for everybody, but the way the Pacers playing overall, man, I don't know. I like it. I like their basketball.
Yeah, they played really well. I think if they're going to actually make a run in the playoffs, Victor Oladipo, I know he's still kind of, he's been back from the injury for a while now, but still like getting into game speed. But if he can get back to that Oladipo form before he got that injury on his knee, man, that Pacers team would be so good because he was just going so hard back then.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. And I like their young point guard, the Holiday brother, the youngest one, Aaron Holiday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Another X factor, man. If he steps up and becomes like a Jrue Holiday or something, that's a big three right there. And they're young, so.
And last player I'll mention, Brogdon. He is a bucket too.
Mm-hmm.
Just remember that.
Yeah, he's great.
I keep forgetting he's there. See, that's why I don't remember shit of the Pacers, man.
Savage. Does anybody want to say anything about the Sixers before we go to the West?
Nah, man. There's nothing to say there. Ben Simmons is going to leave the team. Ben Simmons.
There's nothing to say. Ben Simmons is now most likely out for the year. We're freaking. I'm watching that Wizards Sixers game the other day, and the Sixers are just so mentally weak. You just watch them implode on one another all the time, and it's like you just see. Whether it's Simmons or it's Embiid, they're just pouting all the time. It never looks like they're supporting each other that much. It's like, I don't know. It's just a funny team to watch how they play together.
I'm going to throw this out here, and that's the last thing I'm going to say about the Sixers. Will this be the last time we saw Ben Simmons on the Sixers uniform? I don't know, man.
It's a possibility. I would not be surprised if he asked for a trade this offseason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I see that coming.
For sure.
As soon as I saw the injury, I thought immediately the Sixers are going to trade this guy and going to keep Embiid. I see that coming, man. I see that coming.
Okay, let's talk about the West. So Lakers are. We're going to talk about a few more teams in the West though, because there's some more that garner conversation than there are in the East. But so the Lakers, Bron and AD are definitely the strengths. But I want to talk about some of the issues that I've seen now in the bubble. The outside shooting is a weakness for the Lakers. And I'm also concerned about it has been, but it's gotten worse because I'm not saying Avery Bradley was the greatest three-point shooter, but the Avery Bradley loss hurts because their guard play now is just strange. You have, obviously Alex Caruso and KCP is still there. And I think Rondo's reporting back. But now it seems like you're kind of almost relying on guys like Dion Waiters to actually go play. And that scares me because I don't think that any team really wants to have to rely on Dion Waiters.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the Lakers situation is pretty tough, but they do have Bron, they do have AD, so you can't help but to think like, all right, of course they're going to be like in the finals, and it's the Lakers organization right now, so but just relying on Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith is, if I was a Lakers fan, it'd be really tough to go through right now.
Listen,
but like if the Blazers and the Lakers play in round one, you're not worried about Dame and CJ going up against that Lakers backcourt?
I would be.
And that's funny because I remember you texting us and telling me. And I had to think about it. I think so. I think it'd be an intense matchup.
Listen, I have one thing to say about these Lakers, and it's something that, once again, man, like as soon as I started watching them play on the bubble, and don't get me wrong, because I was hyped up for J.R. Smith because I like him as a player.
Mm-hmm.
These Lakers teams, it fucking smells like the Cavs team. It's just it's fucking rotten. It smells like rotten Cavs team again, man. If you take Bron away or AD, it's a bunch of high school players with J.R. Smith and Dion Waiters. That's it. Listen, it is a bunch of vets that are just randomly put up there. It reminds me of the Cavs team where they had like D Wade, like what? The Cavs team with D Wade and Isaiah Thomas and like I don't know. You know what I'm saying? It's a perfect comparison. Like you compare that team to the Lakers team that they had before Bron came in, which was like a great team for the future, which is like the Pelicans right now, but without Zion. And you'd be like, oh, the Lakers are actually looking like a fun team for the future. And right now, the Lakers look like a fun team for the next 2 years until Bron leaves and AD wants to leave too. And then they'll be like a team with Rondo, KCP, and Dion Waiters. You know, what are you gonna do? Take edibles together on the plane and not go to the games? Like, I don't know, man.
You mean,
It's no, listen, it's true though. Like, this is the LeBron James effect. This is what happens. He goes into a team, he trades the whole new roster for a star player, AD, Kevin Love. I don't know, man. It's starting to smell the same. And what they do, they actually won a ring in the Cavs. So I'm not surprised they won't win a ring in the Lakers because AD is playing at a top form and Braun is balling out. But as soon as Braun is gone or is just getting older, because dude is not getting younger, AD will one out. And I'll say that will happen in 3 years at least. And in those 3 years, it's funny because, well, Brandon Ingram might be balling in 3 years really hard, and Lonzo Ball might be a great player in 3 years, and even Josh Hart might be a good player as a defensive player or a 3-point shooter. I don't know. And the Lakers will be a bunch of vets with Dion Waiters and J.R. Smith. That's all I have to say about the Lakers right now, man. It's like random pieces put together just to support Bron. But yeah, once again this year, yeah, maybe they'll make the finals, maybe they win, but is it really worth it though? Like, do you, as a Lakers fan, would you be happy with this team? Like, honestly, would you look at the team and be like, "Damn"?
Real quick, Max. To what you're saying, I get what you're saying, Thiago. I see the argument. The only thing I would say though is, let's say Bron leaves whenever. The only reason I know the Lakers aren't going to struggle is because they are the Lakers.
They are going to struggle.
They're going to find the next players to replace them. So they're not going to be a bad organization forever. So they'll be able to deal with it.
Yeah, I mean, looking in their situation right now in terms of where their roster is, bench wise, there's a lot of concerns. Their lesser cast hasn't helped very much, and I mean, you look at the amount of money that they spent on their bench too. There's so many guys on there that are making veterans minimum. So all of that money that they have is really locked up, in a small sector of players. So. And Thiago, to an extent, you are right. You look at the bench that Bron had out there in Cleveland for not just 1 year, but a few different years. It was a lot of veterans, a lot of guys that were, for whatever, like labeled as, LeBron's kind of guys to play with in the past. But yeah, there's not a lot of youth on the bench. There's not a lot of scoring on the bench. So if the Lakers are to go to the finals and win it all, it is going to have to be Bron and AD just really balling out of control.
Let me just say one thing. You know what's going to be the worst for the Lakers is that I bet, and I'm almost sure that next season, they're going to try to make a trade for Chris Paul. Because they have space for his huge-ass contract, and we all know that Chris Paul likes to play with Bron. And they're going to do that, and that might bring them another ring, or a ring for sure, because I bet like Chris Paul right now would be a great piece for the Lakers. But that's going to be their last shot in the foot, because that's going to ruin their cap. And if Bron leaves once again, or Bron retires, everything is going to be a shit show there. Because I really, mark my words, and you heard it here first, Chris Paul might go to the Lakers next year. I wouldn't be surprised at all. They want that. They want him. Bron already said that, like, the way Chris Paul is playing, he would be a great piece for the Lakers. And don't get me wrong, he would. That might be like 2 rings, 1 ring, maybe. I don't know how long Chris Paul can keep this shape. But at the long run, ouch. Ouch. It's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty to watch these Lakers, man.
Yeah, we'll see, man. We'll see how many years LeBron actually has left, too, before he decides to hang it up. I know I don't know if he still has the skill, but I remember a while back he was trying to talk about playing into the league even once his son gets into the NBA. So I got to imagine that's probably still a few years away.
Chill, man. Chill. Dude gets old. He's a human by the end of the day. It doesn't look like one.
I don't know.
That's not an average human, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, come on. Tom Brady can do it. I think if LeBron really wanted to, he could.
Can Tom Brady do it though? That's the thing. Can he do it?
You're about to find out come September 10th.
We'll see. Moving on, man. Move on to the Cleveland Cavaliers Lakers.
We're going to Clippers now. Defense, and scoring. Paul George, Kawhi, Lou Will, Trez, getting putbacks and rebounds. I don't see a weakness to this Clippers team. And I don't even think there has to be an X factor. I just think they all play so well together that I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Lakers in the Western Conference Finals.
Man, I'll tell you that first game of the bubble though. I don't care what
Yeah,
anybody says. That was an amazing game. I'd love to see 7 games
right.
of that. I think everybody else would too. And then also with the Clippers, I don't know if I'd like didn't realize it before, but like Paul George's jumper is mean. Like
So
he is a
yeah,
bucket. It's so ridiculous. Like,
he was going in
of
against
course he got
Portland.
Kawhi out there.
I don't
Yeah,
know how you can say they don't have an X factor, man. Patrick Beverly is the X factor, and you know
Okay.
why?
Yeah.
You know why? Because he's the new donkey of the league. You know why? What a
Yeah.
donkey is? A donkey is the guy that really pisses you off because he talks a lot of shit and he gets into your head. That's why they call Donkey the Donkey Green to Draymond Green, because he used to do exactly the same
oh
thing.
my
You play
god.
defense, he gets into your head, and he makes a couple of plays. And listen, he got into Damon Lillard's head, didn't he? He missed two
He
free
did.
throws. He choked him.
Yeah, he did.
Trust
He
me,
really did choke that game. Yeah.
dude, he's annoying as hell. I get so pissed watching Patrick Beverly, bro, because he's not obviously like if you compare, you cannot even compare Patrick Beverly to Damian Lillard when it comes to player. Like there's just no comparison possible. But he's out there in the bench laughing like this is high school and he's bullying that kid. You know, he's laughing in the
Yeah.
bench with Morris. Who are these guys? You know, like you're just, what are you doing? And that gets into the people's heads. Like I know that Damon Lillard is pissed because he's been commenting on social media, and you know, if a player goes on social media in a beef, that means he's mad because like you got like a lot of people around you that tell you not to do shit on social media because that looks bad on your image, and if you still do it anyways, that means you're pissed. And trust me, I
Yeah.
bet a lot of people told Damien to not like, don't answer Patrick Beverly because he's a donkey. But what did he do? He went there and he answered him. That's it. And Paul George went there to help with the beef. But whatever, man. If I had to say an X factor for the Clippers, that's Patrick Beverly. If somebody has to get that Lakers team mad, especially like Rondo, because I know that Rondo has that short temper, especially since he's been called Chris Paul. Uh, you know, Rondo's been like boiling on hot water ever since, and he gets mad really quick. So if somebody has to make a discussion on that Lakers bench, it's going to be Patrick Beverly. He's the one to get people pissed. So definitely an X factor on and off the court, definitely.
Yeah, man. If he won't beat you by putting the ball in the basket, he'll
talk
talk
shit.
words at you to death.
Oh yes, sir. That's what he does, and he does it well. Draymond Green all over again, man. That's what he does.
Any thoughts, Kyle?
No, it's just that's my same thoughts. My X factor is still PG though. He's just a bucket and he's gonna get his buckets. But to the Patrick Beverly thing though. I mean, he's just I think we all knew this already. He's just always been like that. He's just that player. I couldn't tell you his stats, but I just know that he's gonna be front page. He's gonna be talking with everybody. So whatever.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
I think Beverly's pretty funny. I think he's a funny guy. I laugh at it. I'm sure he pisses some people off though. That's fine.
Oh hell he does. Oh hell he does. He pissed Damian Lillard off, man. That's oh man,
right.
hold on.
Number 3 team. Talk about the Denver Nuggets.
Oh yeah, I got a lot to say here.
Yeah, so I've really enjoyed watching the Nuggets play in the bubble. They play so well together as a team, and it seems like they have so many guys that come off the bench and just really play good basketball. It doesn't matter if it's the 5th guy off the bench, the 4th, the 6th. Like they all know how to come in and play within the system. And Jokic has just looked amazing. And then lastly, Michael Porter Jr. has just been unleashed. You know, like people were calling for him to play more minutes during the regular season, kind of wondering like why Malone was pushing him, holding him back rather. But I think at least, 2 or so 30-point games, just pulling up from everywhere, getting to the basket. It's been a treat to watch because I think we all knew that this was a possibility and that he could do these things, but now we're getting to see him.
For sure. I think seeing Michael Porter Jr. is a good thing. And we all knew he was. I knew he was going to be a bucket. It just kind of sucks that he had to sit out with injuries so long, even through college. So just to see him once again, it's like the same thing with Tyler Hero. Just to see him like out there, like actually like putting his game into the NBA, like that's pretty tough. And then already my X factor is Bol Bol. You know it, the Bol Bol Nuggets. That's all I got to say.
I got like my X factor is definitely Michael Porter Jr. Man. I mean I'm looking right now, and I've done that before to the 2018 NBA draft, and you got guys like Kevin Knox, Mikal
Yeah.
Bridges, Miles Bridges, Jerome Robinson, Mo Bamba, so many more. Pick the ahead of Michael Porter Jr. that was picked with the 14th pick by the Denver Nuggets.
Right.
Listen, man. Wow. The
It's
Knicks
the
really
injuries,
are
man.
bad.
People are not.
The Knicks really are a bad team, bro. Like drafting Kevin Knox
Yep.
that high. But anyways, taking that apart, bro. Michael Porter Jr. is it's a gambling. It is a gamble. You know, like he's injury prone. Although he was the best player from his class, we all know the story. He ended up getting like not playing college because he was in college, but he didn't play because he was injured, and he got played. He still got picked on the first round. And Bol situation is kind of similar, but it just dropped to the second round, and then the Heat actually picked him, but the Nuggets traded for him. So you see these guys that are like they're like a shot in the dark. Let's put it in that way, because they're always injury prone, and the Nuggets knew how to use them. And one thing I gotta have respect for Malone is for not not falling into the pressure of putting these guys playing in too early, because I believe like if Bol came into way too early to play on the regular season, he might have gotten hurt. And the same thing with Michael Porter Jr. because he got an injury during the regular season. If I'm not wrong, it was not a big injury, but he got injured, and then they reduced his minutes again. Because I remember at some point he was balling like this, like he was putting double numbers before Christmas, around November, whatever. What I have to say about it is the Nuggets really know how to play with these guys. You know, like these players that are a shot in the dark, like I call them, and you can never tell if they're going to become like great players or if they're just going to be injury prone players. But man, like getting those two players in such a average draft picks numbers and the way they're playing right now, especially Michael Porter Jr., because I think he's just on a whole new level, whole new level on his draft class, man. Dude's putting like double numbers, and he's a shooter. He can shoot that ball from three really easily. He's strong, man. He's tall. He's fast. What else can you want more from him? You know, if you want a prototype perfect player, what else can you ask from Michael Porter Jr. besides not being injury prone? You know, that's a true X factor. And I read an article recently, and I have to agree with it when they say, in a few years, maybe in a year or two, this will not be Nikola Jokic team. This will be Michael Porter Jr.'s team, and all of the rest is around him. It's true, man.
For sure.
It's true. Jokic is a great player, but he's not consistent enough, and all of the players in the Nuggets are good right now. But Michael Porter, I just think he's on a new level. He's on a new level, man. The way he's playing right now and what he's showing off, if he stays healthy, they're gonna talk about him a lot.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch him so far in the bubble. But I think the real X factor for the Nuggets is going to be Jamal Murray. You know, he's been injured a little bit, hasn't played in the last few games, and I think there's talk about him coming back for the next one. But I think Jamal Murray is another guard that's underrated in the Western Conference. I think he just gets underlooked. He can score in so many different ways, and I think he's just really impressive. And I know the Nuggets will really need him if they have any chance of even getting to the Western Conference Finals. Now to the 4 seed. So you have James Harden and Russell Westbrook and the Rockets. What do we think about the 3-point Rockets?
My thoughts still are the same from before the whole bubble. I've been thinking about the Rockets the same way. They just not gonna win anything playing the type of basketball they're playing. I mean, James Harden's gonna get his buckets. Russell Westbrook does what he does, but they're just not gonna win anything playing the type of basketball they're playing. Plain and simple.
Yep. I don't have much more to say about the Rockets. I'm not gonna extend myself. They cannot go anywhere. They won't go anywhere. They're a great team. They can score the ball, but this small ball thing is it's a hoax. It's not gonna work. It's a lie, man. And I mean, a lot of respect for Russell Westbrook and James Harden, like Kyle said, but nah.
Yeah. I agree too. I don't think that they're gonna win anything, but it is interesting to see those games though where they do, their game plan really does work and they they make, about 70 points off three-pointers in a game. It's just interesting to watch, whether that will be successful in the playoffs. No, I don't think so. But when Harden and Westbrook are doing their thing, it's pretty crazy just to see how offensive that team can get. And number 5, we have the OKC Thunder. Um, I think well, not I think. I watched the game the other day when they played the Grizzlies, and they ended up getting just smacked. They had an 18-point lead at one point, but they ended up losing by like 30 almost. And I think that the Thunder will be okay though. They need to get Schroeder back. I know he's been on leave from the bubble, but with CP3 and Shea Gilgeous and Steven Adams and Gallinari, I just like the team they have. I think it's tough where they're at in the West. I don't think they have enough talent to really, make a deep run. But I just enjoy the brand of basketball that they play.
Yeah, definitely. This is one of the teams we were talking about too. For a team that's just kind of out in the middle of nowhere, they're pretty good. They're at 5. CP3 is bowling. Shy is their X factor to me. And I'll say Shy and Gallinari. And I always like watching Gallinari play too. So just seeing those two ball out, that's really what's keeping them in it. So they're a decent team. They're gonna do good. Not get to the finals good, but they're gonna do what they have to.
Yeah, I gotta agree on the OKC side. It's just been a pleasure watching CPT play like that. He's been a highlight reel in the bubble so far. He's just doing he makes the basic basketball stuff and the fundamentals look fun. That's what he does. He's a true point guard. He's balling out there. He's just proving everybody wrong that said he was finished. Especially after that Rocket season where it was kind of overshadowed by James Harden and a lot of the victim to a lot of criticism. Yeah, man. Overall, I'd say that it's a pleasure being watching CP3 play like that. It's a pleasure being watching the young guys developing in the Thunder like that. And man, just 6 men of the year, right? He's there, and yeah, there's not much more to say, man. I just like the team overall.
All right. Well, I think that we'll end with the Blazers here. We can include one more just because the West is a little bit deeper, and there's kind of an interesting scenario that's unfolding here in the West. The Grizzlies are still ahead of the Blazers, so when we go to that 8-9 play-in series, if the Blazers remain at 9, they'd have to beat the Grizzlies 2 times to advance. But I think that the Blazers are playing great basketball right now. Dame's just been killing in the bubble. Gary Trent Jr. has the most 3-point shots made in the bubble, and just having Nurkic and Collins back has just been awesome for the Blazers. They don't have to play that nitwit Whiteside too much anymore. That guy is just a clown, dude. Anyways, yeah, I just like where the Blazers are going, and I think that if they do get into a 7-game series with the Lakers in round 1, I wouldn't be surprised at all if it goes 7 games. I wouldn't be surprised if the Blazers beat them either. But let's hear what you guys have to say.
All right, so my final thoughts on this last 8 seed is a couple things. So the first thing is I like how the NBA had 22 teams in to make sure the Pelicans get in, and yet they're not going to the playoffs. Kind of crazy. But there's more to unfold with that story at another time. The next thing is the Suns are gonna make this one pretty interesting because they are undefeated. Right. They are balling. So and they're 8, 9, and 10. So Suns, the Blazers, and the Grizzlies. So I'd love to see how this is all gonna unfold. And I think it'd be a shock to everybody if the Suns were up there and they somehow made it to an 8 seed. And then the last thing I'll say is if the Blazers are the 8 seed, it's gonna be a pretty intense matchup for the Lakers. So.
Yeah,
certainly.
I'm gonna pick up where you left, and I'm gonna talk about those 3 teams too. I'm just gonna wait, who'd you say he was a clown? Did you say it was Hassan Whiteside?
Yeah, Whiteside, dude. The guy just doesn't get it, man. He's just constantly doing stupid shit on the floor all the time.
I'm so happy he left the Heat, man. Whatever people say about him.
He just doesn't get it.
Oh my god, dude's a child. I just
exactly.
before I go into my argument about the team, do you remember when he shared So this is crazy, right? We're talking about grown-ups, right? And he shared a video on Twitter of him shooting 3-pointers. He tagged the Miami Heat team and said, "Why don't I play more minutes and let me shoot from 3?" And I'm like, "What are you doing? Like, are you kidding? Like, are you gonna tag?" Oh my god! Like, I'm so happy he's away. I mean, whatever, man. He's a double machine. Yeah, he is. But fuck that dude. You know, I don't want nothing to do with that. If the Blazers know,
he's no bueno.
No, yeah, he's a kid. Anyways, 3 teams here that I want to talk about, and I'll start with the Grizzlies. I feel bad for them. I think losing Jaren Jackson is a big hit, and I think that's going to be the main reason why they're not going to be the 8th seed. And listen, a lot of respect for Ja Morant. This is not on him. This is not on him. Whatever people say that he's choking or whatever in the bubble, he's not choking, man. He's a rookie. Okay, he's a rookie that lost a star player with him. It's tough. It's tough to be to beat all that pressure and still make the 8th seed. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they still made it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think for the sake of the team, they just not going to try to get Ja Morant hurt on his rookie season and not overplay him or overuse him on those minutes. Just take it chill and wait for next year. Try not to get him injury and wait for Jaren Jackson to be back. Second, the Blazers, yes, they're playing really well. What happened with the Clippers is not a good example of what's going on. I don't think Dame Lillard chokes at all. I think it's the opposite of choking. I mean, everybody has bad games, and that was not a bad game. He just choked at the end, so that happens.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have a bad game, for the record. He had a good game like he always has. Nurkic is a great piece. Yes. Whiteside is a clown. Yes. CJ McCollum is a baller. Yes, he is. I like to watch him play. That's basically it, man. I hope if I have to choose, I'd say I want. Calm down, man. I'm a big Melo fan. I'm saving the best. I'm saving the best for the end. I was gonna say if I had to choose, I would put the Blazers at the 8th seed, especially because Carmelo Anthony. I don't want to see him making a deep playoff run, and I really want to see them beating the Lakers. And I swear to God, if they are in the 8th seed, I'll be cheering for the Blazers every single game of that round because I'm a big Dame fan. I like CJ McCollum, and well, I love Carmelo Anthony ever since the Nuggets, so I really want him to win something.
100%.
Last, the Phoenix Suns. Wow, that's all I have to say, man. Wow, coming into the bubble, undefeated. And man, Devin Booker, DeAndre Ayton, all those cats, man, all those young bucks, they're making a great team out there. I mean, it's tough to make the 8th seed in their position. It is. Although I totally respect the run, and it would be a hell of a Cinderella story if they made it to the 8th seed, and even better if they made a run in the playoffs. That would be one of the craziest stories ever in the NBA history. But I mean, let's be real here. You know, like they're really good. They will be good. I think next year they might make the playoffs. Hell yeah, the way they're playing. But this year, man, let's just give it to the Blazers. You know, like let's just stick it real. I trust the Blazers, and like you guys keep saying this whole podcast today, yeah, they can beat the Lakers if they make the 8th seed. If there's a team that they can beat the Lakers as the 8th seed, because the Phoenix Suns wouldn't be able to beat the Lakers, I don't think so. But the Blazers, man. Yeah, you know, they
For
might.
real. Yeah.
They might.
To kind of comment on what you were mentioning as well, I do feel really bad for Ja Morant and those Grizzlies. It's a tough blow when you see Jaren Jackson kind of going out with a knee injury like that. But they'll be back. They're young, and hopefully Jackson gets to full health at some point during the season next year.
What?
But the Suns, man.
Yeah. Yeah, go ahead. I'll hop in after.
No, I was gonna say, the Suns, man, they've just played great basketball. That shot that Booker hit was crazy. How he stopped and then pivoted back and hit the buzzer beater. So I've enjoyed watching them play, and I think Ayton's played a lot better as well. So it's been cool.
I got one last thing to say when it comes to the matchup with the Blazers and the Lakers, and it's funny because you called Whiteside a clown, and I totally agree. But if there's a guy to stop AD on the paint, it might be Whiteside. Man. He gets in your like all the dumb players in crybabies, they get in your head. And Whiteside is really good. Like, no, he's a good defensive player. Listen, he won Defensive Player of the Year playing by the Heat. So I gotta give him that. And if there's a guy that can stop AD on the paint, once again, that's Whiteside. I'm not gonna say Nurkic because I think Whiteside plays better defense than Nurkic. Not gonna lie. If he's on his right mind, if he's not acting like a crazy fool on the court, he is a great defensive player. So yeah, that locking down AD like that and leaving Braun with a bigger role because the guards are not gonna do shit against Dame and CJ. Leaving Braun with a bigger role might be scary. You know, if Braun chokes just a little bit because he's getting older and he's not scoring as much. Right. You know, looks like the perfect matchup made in heaven to beat the Lakers. If you look closely.
Yeah, definitely the team that has the best matchup-wise possibility of doing it is the Blazers, without a doubt.
Yeah, and Carmelo on that one-on-one against LeBron, that would be fun, man. That would be hella fun.
Throwback right there.
Yeah, two vets, same draft class. Two best players of that draft class in the rookie year, because I think Melo finished right behind LeBron, and then was D-Wade. Just facing each other out there, man. They're the last one surviving. Big guys from that draft class would be crazy matchup. I'd love to see that.
Any other thoughts?
I'm all good.
Yeah, that's all I have for today, too.
Sweet. That concludes our episode today, talking about the NBA teams that are trending in the right direction towards the playoffs. That'll do it. Be back next Tuesday.